What's up, friends and family? The one with the codes and your most trusted Hercules Crypto. And get back at you on Bitcoin price. Why is it important? And why a lot of people scared the markets? And could we have a risk of a recession going into this year 2025? What is the outlook? This is an extremely important video, and I'm going to kind of like close what's been happening recently into the markets and see if I can get more clarity. A lot of respected folks said in 1945 recessions come every 5 to 6 years. The last official downturn, April 2020, during the pandemic when everyone's stuck at home. Then in 2022, we had 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth, Q1 and Q2, economic decline, and the NBR was like, nope, doesn't count. Maybe they covered for Biden, maybe they changed the rules, who knows. Now it's March 2025, 59 months since April 2020. That's 4.9 years. If we follow the 5 to 6 year cycle, we're not at zero yet. The fuel gauge is blinking, but there's still gas left. Now, 2022 was a silent crash, and we're just getting started, which make us very interesting for our crypto backs. By the way, to the reason of Bitcoin, I'll tell you my plans. But economy recession is when economy falls on its butt, when there's 2 consecutive quarters of GDP growth, people losing their jobs, and money disappearing faster than altcoins in a bear market. In 2008, housing crash, banks collapse, and everyone screamed, "Where's my money?" That's a recession. We're not quite there yet, but if things start heating up, altcoins will take the first hit. So keep your eyes open if you're ready to invest in. So in January 2025, home sales crashed by 4.9%, the worst drop in 7 months, hitting levels seen during the Great Recession of 2008 to 2009. High mortgage rates when people can't afford loans, prices are falling, the market is flooded with funds, people are selling and panicking. But wait, in the past 6 weeks, mortgage rates drop and applications have surged. The Federal Reserve Bank reports this as the biggest jump in 6 months. Is this a thaw or a calm before the storm? So the unemployment's growth from 4% to 4.1%, 0.1%, but still that is a red flag. Businesses added 151,000 jobs, and most went to Americans rather than migrants. But here's the kicker. House Scored surveys said 580,000 people lost their jobs. The Bureau of Labor Statistics explains what number comes from companies and what comes from individuals, and they don't match up. In 2021, 5% of unemployment was the bottom before growth, but then the market collapsed. So 4.1% now. We're not screaming disaster yet, but we're still looking into the markets and watching it very close. In times in economic instability and uncertainty, rather if you're worried about having a job tomorrow, a lot of people don't want to invest in crypto and high risk assets. That's why I said into the altcoins and stuff, be careful out there. These altcoins are lower cap, so a lot of people can't stomach the volatility. So the markets, they jump up and they jump down. But I am expected to hit this golden age. I do have a price set at 83,000. I think it's 0.004 of a Bitcoin. It's not a whole lot, and it's getting really close to that actually. So I was patient yesterday. I said it, and I saw that price only drop down to like 83.8, 83.9, and then it started making its way back up to 84.5, 84.7 or something like that. So I was weighing profits when we went up to 87K, and then I said, you got to be careful when the market runs up after the FOMC meeting. We did really well. They expected everything, and they said they're going to soften the economy and reduce their balance sheets, the Feds, and then so everything is looking good in the long term in the macro. But you have to understand, a lot of people in this game to get rich fast, and that's the worst way to look at it. Now, I have been leverage trading with small amounts of money lately. Never short Bitcoin on a bull run. Yes, a lot of this analysis, including myself, is looking at this as the next bull. Still in the bull run. It's not in the bear markets, and we got another leg up to go. And then what will happen later on after that happens, Bitcoin hits new all-time highs again. My plan is to, with my financial plans and stuff, my financial situation, I'm going to sell out a Bitcoin and wait for the bear markets, because I can time the bear markets really good, better than I can time the top. I'm going to sell out at 120K. Okay. I'm not going to sell all my Bitcoin. I'm just going to sell at profits at 120K, and then I'm going to go into the altcoins. The reason why is because with this golden age that I assume that's going to happen, when the altcoins, the lower cap coins, go on a parabolic run, when you can get insane gains in money and wealth, the ones that only will do well, when Bitcoin dominance falls below 60% and below that, and everybody goes into the altcoins, it's going to go parabolic. So I want to make my moves before that happens. So I want to be taking profits out at 120K. I will still own Bitcoin, but I got to take profits and do what I need best for me, for my financial situation. Everybody's different with their financial situation. If I had better financial situation, I would just hold Bitcoin long term and add more capital to the altcoins on that parabolic run, which I believe will be October, could be sooner. But the market's outlook is looking very great, and I'll have to do a future video on that. I'm running out of time. But real quick, I just want to show you the charts where we're getting a drop into Friday there. This right here is at 83.5. It just dropped down earlier when I was speaking. It got down to as low as 83,100. It almost, and I do investments on the Coinbase exchange, and all my leverage trading is on Bluefin, because I don't need no KYC. My personal information I don't have to give out there. If I do leverage trade on Coinbase, then I would have to give out my social security number and all that, and I don't want to do that. So on Coinbase exchange, I only hold spot buys, and I hold limit orders when they hit the targets. See, I don't want to be too greedy, because we could obviously come down lower, but I saw liquidation on the heat map at 82.9 or 82.8. So I have my even number at 83,000 to pick up some more 0.004 of the Bitcoin to add to my anything in the low 80s. And if you can get the 70,000s, which, you can't be too greedy, we could get that, and we could not. So the markets are about to get ready to pump, in my opinion. After April the 2nd, we could see another drop, or we could just be taken off by then. It'd be too late. Everything's looking really good for this golden age. This is on the hourly right here. If I go back to the weekly, we're oversold. I've said this before in the past. Anything below the 30, we're at, the blue line is at 5.95 and the red line's at 2.96. Anything below the 30 is just obviously it's going to be a good buy. On the this is a macro chart, so it takes a while to play out. We're all oversold, so that's good to mark it back up, but still pushing down on the monthly. I said before I don't like it, and we're below the conversion line. That, see that dotted line? I'll zoom in. That dotted line right there, that's your conversion line. And on the monthly of the RSI, the blue line is pushing down. We were climbing up to 40. Now we're back down to 38, about to hit 37 again. This needs to curve back up to the upside. And like I said before, at some point, may not be within a week or two, it might be later, but at some point we're going to hit the baseline of this cup and handle. We're going to come back. As price blasts off, it's going to come back down. As you see here on this this candle here, this was into February of 2024, and then this candle here was November. So this is the whole month of November. November the 4th to 5th, we got the Trump pump, and then that was the Trump put. So what happened is we blasted off and hit all-time highs in the price discovery. We had no, in this range here, we had no support and resistance levels. We just blasted straight through all these levels. And we're now coming back down, and nobody knows, nobody has a crystal ball out there. Nobody knows that right now, until proven otherwise, our support is 80 to 81,000. Until we break that, we will come back down to like 76K and 74K. And then the lowest will go, I've already mentioned, is 69K. But, that could take a while to play out. That could be when Bitcoin dominance fall. I mean, there's no telling when that'll happen. But everything's getting bought up and oversold. New whales are coming in, and they're not in this game for long term. They want to make a quick buck. Whales are people with a large amount of money, so they're ready to get going on the markets. This is your this is still your dominance climbing up to 6.61.59, and then your USDT. This is your stable coin. And I found out that Tether is like the seventh largest holder. They've been buying up the U.S. They've been buying up U.S. debt. They're like the seventh largest out of all the countries out there. They're the seventh largest holder of buying up U.S. Treasuries. And Tether is a stable coin. A lot of people heard about it. Tether is the biggest stable coin out there. I always put my money in USDT um, to hold my money for a safe haven until we see the markets. That way, I can set buy orders on certain on support levels and sell out on resistant levels. But this is your USDT dominance. It's at 5.31%. You know, you see it's climbing up on the RSI and then here. So it's following. There's no divergence of any kind, but it is climbing up and it's trying to, because all the uncertainty of the markets, and this going all the way back to momentum down on this candle here. Um, this was at March, the beginning of March. So this has been going up since then, like on the RSI. So this has been everybody going out to safe haven, like people in traditional markets go to gold or precious metals. Gold is making all-time high, and you'll never see gold. You'll never see gold come back down again below 2,000. Gold is gonna not only it surpass 3,000. That is per ounce. So yeah, gold is worth over $3,000 per ounce. It'll probably be climbing up to 4,000 and so forth in no time. In the future. It's a safe haven. A lot of countries are buying it up too as well. And, copper and gold is going to be a big thing to use for the AI race for supercomputers and stuff. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense for countries to be buying a lot of gold and copper. Because, we're going to be in a digital world. We already are in one. Everything's going to go complete digital eventually. It's just there. And we went operational warp speed in 2020. So, why everybody was staying at home on devices and whatnot. So you must protect yourself against these EMFs. The sun's the best EMF you can get. Some people can't stay out in the sun very long because of their skin condition. But this Bitcoin thing is very promising. I have to do a future video. I'm running out of time. But to tell you how important it is, we're about to hit this golden age. We're going to hit some crazy numbers. Altcoins are going to finally make a run. We're nowhere near an altcoin season. I'm still waiting for lower. That is a bit greed on my behalf. But, I sold out at Shiba Inu when it was at profits. I'm expecting more lower downside, and then Shiba Inu hit my mark. So it did hit it, and this is the monthly. I'm going to go back to the hourly, the short term. This would follow. This would be in the daily because it's hourly. It's very short term. But yeah, it got the draw. Price at 0.40 up 12.59. It hit the my support level, which was basically 13.00. 13.003 was my hit target, or what I was looking at, and it actually went past that. It went to 13.08. So it's coming back down. So even on the hourly, it's showing momentum down. And that pump we got, it is a fake out. People are taking profits on it because Bitcoin ran up to 87K. So people were taking profits because they're probably still thinking we're in a bear market and a recession's coming. I can't rule that out of a recession coming, but I know in the short term, we're not in a recession. And I know the markets are at a very good price right now. So I'll have a future video on that. I hope I don't regret it on Shiba Inu. I'm looking for lower prices. I'm still looking for a flash crash or a black swan event. May not get a black swan event, but a flash crash could happen within in the beginning of this coming month, because I said it's Satoshi's 50th birthday on April the 5th. That's a significant number, and not only that, the beginning of the month, the tariffs, the deals are supposed to be in play around April the 1st, April the 2nd. A lot of people, that are bullish on Bitcoin are saying, go ahead and buy before that date. We're ready to take off. But, the analysis we will for sure will take off in May, without a doubt. We'll if you're not in the market, you're left behind. You're left in the dust. Bitcoin will take off, and a lot of altcoins will still on the cheap and could get cheaper. Like I said, I hedge myself against that. I've been out of altcoins for a while. I'm not holding any altcoins. I bought Shiba Inu and it ran up, and then I sold out for profits. Now I got more capital to buy more in, and when it drops back down to my price levels, at support levels, and when it hits resistance, things come down. So Bitcoin's always the best thing to hold, with Bitcoin dominance almost at 62%. 62% of the world that's holding in crypto is holding more Bitcoin. That just makes sense. And institutions are buying it up as well as Ethereum. But Ethereum has been very disappointing for a lot of people. Ethereum is super cheap right now. If Ethereum gets back down again, I will start picking some of that up. But it will easily run up to 4,000, and it's below 2,000 right now. So at 1,950 currently. But my video is it's hit the 16-minute mark. I'm about to get out of here. That's my favorite number. I love everybody out there. Have a good weekend coming up, and have a good Friday. I hope everybody feels the energy. I think we're going to have a nice day today. I feel like it might be warmer. Everybody have that good evening, good day, and a good weekend. Peace.